Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to episode 58 of the FReality Podcast. This is a weekly VR, AR, and MR talk show that is live streamed every Saturday on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitch. You can tune into the show live at 7 p.m. in Europe, 6 p.m. in the UK, and 12 midday in Central US. If you missed the live show, you can catch up with the audio version, which is available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and on Anchor. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, put them in the chat and we'll try to answer as many questions during the show as we can. Now, let me introduce you to the team. First up, he's the featherweight boxing champion of VR, trained by the iconic Rocky Balboa himself. It's, of course, Nathy. How you doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, and I am the champion of Creed, right? So, like, if you want to see a noob box, then check out my video of this game. Yeah, I really suck at boxing and VR. I did practice before though. I played Knockout League and I have beaten a octopus. So I mean I've been to places, but hey,
you've seen some stuff.
I've seen a lot of tentacles. You know, I've been slapped by an octopus, but I didn't.
Zim in my face at the moment go like, I've seen a lot of tentacles. Interesting, Nathan.
Of course. I know your minds, but no, that's not the tentacle stuff I was talking about.
No, let's take those minds out and introduce the next person, and that is he's a legendary Twitch streamer and my Kimosabi. It is ZimTalk5. How you doing, man? You right?
Your trusted friend. Thank you, Mike.
Kimosabi.
Yeah, Kimosabi. I didn't know what that meant before I started drinking.
Yeah,
that's a special friend, which I happened to get when I went out to VRLA, which is lovely. It's a lovely drink. But
is it tequila?
I think it's tequila. If it's not tequila, then Phil Hellmuth, who gave it to me, is going to be really pissed because I tweeted him saying thanks for the tequila. Just don't even know what fucking drink is. No, that's been good. I should pull out some tequila about now, Mike. So. Yeah, the weeks, it's been one of those grueling weeks, and as it was recounted to you there shortly before we started, taxes. As an American, as any American, you can't escape, even to the darkest depths of Antarctica, you still have to file a tax return, even if you owe them nothing. So yes, I spent the 7 or 8 hours today grinding through that from 5 a.m., and that was fun. But
oh, man, that sucks.
I'm very glad to be here.
Yeah, we should all have little shots, and maybe just like every time we say something, we have to drink a shot. That'd be fun.
We say something stupid.
Yeah, every time we mention VR, we have to take a shot. So next up, when he's not playing with his pop stick, he likes to rescue tiny robots in virtual reality. It's of course the Rowdy Guy. How you doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty fine, and my pop stick is on its way, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Actually. We should tell the viewers out there and audio listeners, of course, that after having the fun with the pop stick, what we mentioned in a previous episode, they've actually reached out to us and decided to send us all pop sticks to check out Hotel Transylvania. Yes. So check that out in a future episode on one of our channels. You never know, you might see some stuff.
Yeah, pop sticks. But I'm doing all right, man. I've been getting back into the YouTube business, trying to record some more stuff at the moment. So yeah, I'm doing pretty all right. Yourself, Mike?
Good. Yeah, good to hear it. Thank you very much for asking. For those that don't know who I am, I'm Mike, the host of the show from Virtual Reality Oasis. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about Borderlands 2 in VR. Are you ready to travel to Pandora to become a notorious vault hunter in virtual reality? I know we're super excited about this one. But we're going to be talking about the latest announcement later on from Gearbox Software. We're also going to be talking about LeapCon. We'll tell you everything you need to know about the Magicverse from Magic Leap event, which happened in LA this week. And then finally, we'll round up the show with Nintendo glasses. You want to strap a Switch to your face? Well, now you can, but is this really Nintendo in virtual reality? To find out. So let's start off the show with finding out what everyone's been up to in the metaverse this week and their sort of highlight of their week. And of course, let's kick it over to Nathy first to find out what he's been up to.
Not so much.
Okay.
Do I need to add anything else?
So you didn't play anything this week?
Of course I did play some stuff. Of course I did. I mean,
let's
say every week I played at least something, I think. I always play a video game for sure. Like, there is no way I can escape games in the first place. I played a bunch of stuff. I played Creed. I played, watched The Great Sea. I also played Path and the Fox Machine game with you. So I checked out like 4 things. If I could pick one, I would say Creed, I guess, because that's what I spent the most time in. About like 2-3 hours. I think I finished the entire like career mode in those 3 hours. Was fast. And the funny part is that you start off as a rookie, a boxer, and you need to box your way to glory. And after a while, I was like, maybe this is a bit too easy. But then I had to face not a champion boxer, to face the security guard of a club, and I could almost not beat him. Right. So you fight against like boxers and you can just beat them easily, and then suddenly you go on the streets and you have like a random person that just starts to street fight against you, and then you almost go knockout. So I don't know what the difficulty is all about in that game, but it's strange. I was a bit confused, like, okay, now I can suddenly not win, but it's just a security guard.
So what happened to sort of start that little event off? Like, why did the security guard get upset? Did you like touch one of the girls in the club or something when they said
that's a good one. No, that's a good one. For some reason, that's the only part, and we do something else than just box in arenas. There was like suddenly out of nowhere a moment where your girlfriend was calling you like, "Oh, I'm trouble," and blah blah, and then you have to leave the training,
the gym,
the gym, and then you had to go to this club and just beat this guy up, and that was it.
Cool.
So the career mode is kind of cool, but I do feel like, if you want to make it a career mode like they did, for example, with FIFA and things like that, you need to do some more than only just be in this gym all the time. It's like a 3 hours game where you gym or in an arena, and then there's just one moment where you really feel like you are experiencing a part of real life,
Yeah.
So
I think they missed a trick there. Like, it should have been like your younger sister calls you up and it's like, hey, these bullies are like, stealing my stuff at school, and you just go there and just lay out some bullies like one punch.
like 14-year-olds like beating them up like that. Like, don't mess with me, don't mess.
Pick on my little sister, you scum.
But it's a cool game. Like, it's for everyone. If you are a noob like me and you can't box at all, then it's fun. If you are a pro, then you can also jump in. I do have to agree with Zim. It's still kind of arcadey. If you want to go for something more like simulated, you should go for
Thrill of the Fight.
Thrill of the Fight. And if you want to fight octopus, animals, creatures, things, then you should out League.
So, quick question, because you were playing this with the Bhaptics Vest.
Yeah, exactly.
How does that sort of, pan out when you're playing a game like this in VR?
So, in case of Creed, like, it depends, because the Bhaptic suit is not capable of handling every game. Some games have been like implemented by them. Some games have been simulated by other people. Like, you have a profile, you can make your own profile for a game and then kind of like test it out and simulate it. In this case, I just used the auto function. So you just feel it in the middle. It's not like you feel the punch in the left or the right or anything like that, but you can create that with the Bhaptic suit if you want, where you can make it way more specific. Yeah.
Curiosity, so does it work like a graphic equalizer where you can kind of say, here's the bass E tones and I want to amplify that and feel that?
Yeah.
The fact that they have a software companion to the suit is very interesting to me, because neither of the two tactile solutions that I'm accustomed to actually have that at all. They don't have any software side. It's just purely, here's the frequency. The butt kicker has actually a frequency dial, so you can change the cutoff. But something on the software side, that's actually great.
Yeah, but for now, you kind of need to simulate it yourself. And if you really want to have like really like on point haptics, then you should build a game from scratch and still, implement it while you are using the suit. They do have some games themselves, some demos where you get poked by an anime character and where you get shot with a gun, and then you can really, feel the real potential of what, Ready Player One is going to be like.
So many bruises?
No, no. But you can make it very intense. You have like different levels of intensity you can turn on, and then it's like like best massage ever.
I'm just imagining a 6-year-old here like cranks at the dial like yeah, and then he gets like knocked and he goes flying back in the room.
Yeah,
gotta do a YouTube fun video like that.
So do you have the facial interface as well?
Yes, but I am not using it right now.
Oh, okay.
But you can also use the wrist ones. You have like all kinds of gadgets, and also for your knees and things like that. You can completely upgrade if you want.
I'm looking forward to like the Grand Theft Auto VR game where you get tased by a police officer and you get tased in real life.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, like with a Tesla suit, they should just crank it up when that happens, but you can't move anymore.
Exactly.
It'd be like a Northern Ireland BBC thing documentary. They go to do your kneecaps, you know. And you're like, oh, take them off.
Okay, so let's find out what Zim has been playing in the metaverse this week. What about you, dude?
Yeah, big array of different things. I won't go into it, but I was really impressed by the Great Sea. That was the one that probably stood out to me the most. But I imagine someone else might cover that, so I'll go ahead into the one that I know no one else is going to cover, which is American Truck Simulator released in Oregon expansion, which required a VR patch, which last week started working. So I went and drove that. For those who aren't aware, the dev team, in their wonderful planning, has decided they're going to cover every single state in the US. Now, there are 50 states. The development cycle so far has led to about 2 per year. Anyone do the math. There's no feckin' way they're ever going to finish that. I actually met them in person at Rezzed, stood in front of them, and they confirmed this plan that they're going to do all the states.
Oh my God.
It's a silly plan. Meanwhile, the same team spoke to me about how they have one dude who's partly assigned to VR support, and that's it. And for 4 years, I've been egging them on to say, your business developer, your business development guy or gal needs to focus on VR because you have it. They had it 4 years ago. They could have run away with it and made oodles of money. They haven't done it, and they still haven't integrated VR into the main branch of the game, which means things like multiplayer don't work in VR, which is just
that sucks.
A crying shame because
It's weird.
This recent patch in Oregon, if you are a fan of Euro Truck Simulator 2 or American Truck, my preference is Euro Truck Simulator 2, by the way, but American Truck Sim, this is the best patch I've seen in terms of content. Some of the existing areas have been upgraded. The existing states have additional interconnectors. The territory actually as well feels a lot more like the states. The other segments kind of felt a bit like guesswork. I know they did lots of work on it, so that's not to put them down. But Oregon really feels quite legitimate compared to some of the other patches that have come out. And so if you are into VR and you've kind of taken a hiatus from American Truck Sim or whatever, and you want to drive around rough metal or scrap plastic waste, which is what I ended up driving around. I was like, yeah, we're going to do something cool like logs. Nope, just rubbish old recycling junk in my back. But I drove that around. It was quite good. It's quite good. So I do recommend that. Oregon's just out. And actually, Euro Truck Simulator 2 had a recent Italy patch, which I still haven't got around to. So there's that. And then the other little bit of news I'll mention, because it's not good, I hear, is Assetto Corsa Competizione released their VR milestone in their second patch. They have one track, one car, and it's not great in VR. I did watch a live casting from a guy called Random Call Sign, who's well known in the racing sphere, and you could tell things were blurry. Even when he jacked it up to kind of go multi-res, it just was not great. So actually, I'm going to hold off on that one myself. And for anyone else who is going, like tracking it in their mind, thinking I'm going to go buy this just for the VR support, probably want to hold off.
That's a shame to hear that. That's a shame to hear that.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see where they go with the project.
So what about you then, Rowdy? What have you been playing in VR this week, dude?
Yeah, I've actually, like I said, like I tried to like get back into the game a little bit. I've been playing some AstroBot, and I have to say I was actually really surprised on how I liked it. Indeed, there's not much of a story really that I think is worth delving into, but it's the level design is just really good. Also, like I played the first 20 minutes of the Great Sea, but I'm assuming that Mike might talk about that, or do you have something else in mind?
Path.
Ah, okay. Well, I think it's amazing. I know that I actually played it right after that Zim tweeted me saying that I have to check it out. And I haven't done it fully yet because I wanted to make a video on it as well. So I had to like break it off at some point because I didn't want to like, you know, do the entire experience on YouTube and then people just watch the entire video and then, there's no point in like getting the game anymore because it's a watching experience. But I think it's they've done it the right way. They've done it storytelling in a medium that really supports storytelling in general. And I think it's such a great job that they've done in terms of using virtual reality to make it an interesting story. It's like the first like movie that you can only really watch in virtual reality.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's an amazing concept, and it opens up new avenues, and everyone will have a little bit of a different movie experience, which I think is really cool because you can look at different sides of things, you can look at the characters in a different way, so not everyone sees the same thing, but the story is in general the same. Which I think is an amazing thing because it reminds me a little bit of like when I was like younger and your dad like used to tell you a story. The way that your dad told the story was different from like how, for example, your mom told the story, your uncle would tell the story. And I kind of got that feeling with that as well, just because the viewing experience is completely different for me than it is for someone else. I think that's a really cool concept. It only costs like, I think $5 on the Oculus Home Store.
Good pricing.
It's a very good price.
And I felt the same way. Like I felt very connected to the characters in the experience and also the world around me, because you can look around completely 360 and see the world behind you. Obviously have a curated experience because everything kind of goes on in front of you. And the dynamic cameras, the way they move through the scenes make you feel very much like a part of it. But I could say that some people maybe that are new to VR might find those moving cameras to be a bit too intense. But they've kind of...
You can select at the beginning.
Exactly. I was going to say there's options in there, like comfort options. So it's just a static camera.
If you like to look around what's going on, I would actually go for that mode instead, because with the cinematic one, you don't to disturb the movement itself while looking around. At least that was in my case, that was kind of like the confusing part of it. So if you really want to take the time out and enjoy your surroundings, I think you should go for the other mode, like the comfort one.
The only thing I was going to say is when the opening credits came up, right? All I could imagine was white text saying "RIP." It looks like someone has swooped in. Like this has actually happened here. But Telltale fall to their knees. At the same time, like in the graphic, it looks very much like a Telltale game. Like if they said Telltale developed this, I would have said, of course they did.
I like
it's
that.
A nice
actually.
comparison, actually. Yeah, it's a good comparison. And I'd love them. Like if Secret Location decided to make these kind of experiences but interactive, like Telltale games, that would be super freaking awesome. Man. I'd be well into that. Yeah. But no, I was really impressed with it as well. And I really wanted to kind of get the information out there. So I made a little snippet of a video as well, just showing like a short part of it, because I think it's important. Like these experiences tend to get kind of passed by a lot of people, but it really is like the first few steps of like a new medium in VR.
I really think that is the case. Like, because this is something completely different from like what we normally play or what we normally... if you go and see a movie, you don't get an experience like this where this really felt, it didn't feel like I was watching a movie, but it felt like I went to the theater and you were like part of the theater. That's how it kind of felt for me. And
that's a good analogy.
I really like that concept. Yeah.
Did this remind you guys, for those of you who've played it, of the Invisible Hours? Because to me it did, but it was a bit of a different thing. Because you was no control panel. You had literally no control of what you were seeing other than with your head movements.
Yeah.
I kind of liked that step back. I liked them taking the control away and kind of, it felt a little bit more intimate. Maybe that's what you're trying to...
It's also like, because like what Mike said, it's more of like a curated experience, because, the director has, and I think that's a really good way forward, because, you want to show the audience the exact things that they need to look at, but the way that they experience it is different from person to person. And I think that's a really cool concept. A really great job they've done with that.
Yeah, definitely. So recommend to go and see if you haven't checked it out already. Like I say, it's $5 or something like that on Steam and Oculus Home. This week I checked out Twilight Path. It's made by Charm Games, so the same development studio that made Form. I really loved Form. I love puzzle games in VR, as you'll probably know. But Form was one of my favorites just because of the art style was very dark. It was kind of sci-fi, mysterious. And the puzzles weren't overly complicated, and it's the same in Twilight Path. But in Form, the way the puzzles transformed from scene to scene was something like being in like the Allspark in a Transformers movie. Like that's kind of how it all transforms around you, which is really cool. And I've never seen anything like that again. So I was kind of hoping for more of that in Twilight Path, but you don't get that because it's more of a fantasy sort of universe, kind of Japanese, kind of ancient Japanese universe you sort of go to, sort of kind of between the real world and the afterlife, called Twilight. And you solve a bunch of puzzles in there, but it's the same sort of length as Form, so you'll probably complete it in about an hour. And again, like, the puzzles are fairly straightforward, pretty basic. You're not going to be like scratching your head or like rage quitting on this one. You'll get through it, no problem. And it did have some cool mechanics to it, like you do this mechanic where you put the controllers together and then you sort of bring them out again. So it's almost like, feels like you're casting a spell, a bit like Doctor Strange. And when you're rebuilding sort of broken parts of the world around you and they're kind of re-transforming back together again, that's really satisfying. But overall, it just didn't sort of meet the polish and magic of Form, in my opinion. It kind of missed something, and by the end of it I was just kind of like, yeah, this is kind of a bit of a missed opportunity, because they've tried to add a few different things into it. Like, they added like 3 characters that kind of help you lead you along your journey, but they ultimately fall a bit flat. You know, the voice acting was a bit and they're kind of a bit unnecessary, really, because you're only really there for the puzzles anyway. So the story kind of takes second place to that. So it's kind of a missed opportunity and a bit of a shame. So I was a bit disappointed with it, and kind of recommended that people just go and check out Form if they haven't checked out that puzzle game. But also, it kind of got me thinking of Red Matter, and I've mentioned this on the podcast before, that I think about that game regularly, and it's true, I do. Because it's such an underrated game, in my opinion. You know, it's a standout puzzle game. It's got a really cool story to it, and it's really long as well. So
did you beat it, Mike?
Never. And this is the thing. I want to go back and finish it. It's fun to do so.
I put like 3 hours in it. I'm the same. I've got this guilt trip, like this chip on my shoulder, which is like, you haven't finished, especially when the dev team is so nice. I met them.
They're so nice.
They're so nice. You got this like guilt trip of like, I gotta do it.
Yeah, and that's a challenging puzzle game. The puzzle games are varied and very complex, and it's got this awesome story to it as well. So it hits everything, really.
Well, in my opinion, these kind of games should be more on the storefront. You know, it's almost Halloween. This is like kind of like a spooky game. Just put it in a Halloween bundle or put it on the front again. Usually, games have like a week to, you know, be on the front store of home or maybe Steam sometimes. But then after that, they never really come back. And Red Matter really deserves that, in my opinion.
Totally, I agree. Echo would be in place. But also for a couple of others, like Xing, The Land Beyond, or Zing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yes.
And Abduction. Abduction is the hardest puzzle game I've ever played.
Yeah. So it's funny because PD mentioned Zing on the video. He said, like, you know, you still haven't checked that out, and that's true. I haven't checked that out properly yet, so I do need to check that out.
You just mentioned it in the chat as well.
Yeah, he's harping on you.
Yeah, he does. He hounds me to play this game, and I will play it because puzzle games are my jam, so I will definitely check it out. But let's move into some quick news this week, and first up is Oculus Go is getting a VR cover. So I've been waiting for this news since like the Oculus Go released about 5 months ago now, because I use VR cover products on pretty much every headset I own. I use it on the Rift. I use it on the Vive Pro. I don't have one for the PSVR, actually, but I don't know if they made one. I'm not quite sure, actually.
I just released the PSVR one.
I'll look into that for sure, but I'm not sure. But they recently just announced that they've brought one out for the Oculus Go. And the thing is, the great thing about these products, they're super comfortable to wear, especially for power users that use VR regularly, like daily, and also for devs and people that are demoing VR at events and stuff like that. You know, I think this is essential for them because the original cloth and the foam of these normal sort of interfaces, they tend to soak up sweat and nasty stuff from your face or other people's faces, even worse. And then you have to put them on your own face again, and it's not a very nice experience. Whereas the VR cover pads, they're kind of wipe clean, you know, so they're very hygienic, as well as being comfortable as well. And it kind of looks like the kit with the Go is the kits, you know, they've got this kind of interface that replaces the whole Oculus Go interface and then has a Velcro lining around the edge. And then you can just Velcro pads on and off when you need to, which is kind of cool. Yeah. So that's really nice. The foam replacements that they're providing with this kit, they provide an extra large surface area. So, you know, you don't get those kind of red pressure spots when you take a VR headset off. It kind of spreads it all across your face. So that's really nice. And they use like a high quality vegan leather. So I don't even know what that is. I don't know what a vegan leather is.
That's a sales point.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like at Oculus Connect, I was eating vegetarian chocolate chip cookies. I was like, okay.
I don't know how that works, but apparently it's vegan leather, so I'd love to know if you know how that works. But it's super soft apparently on the skin and easy to wipe between uses, so If you're interested in a VR cover for your Go, you can pick them up for pre-order now, and they'll begin shipping at the end of the month. And they're $29 US, so relatively cheap as well.
This so sounds like an ad. This so sounds like an ad.
It every day,
Yeah.
like it every day does it. It every time does. Like I don't know. Every time you talk about like the VR covers, it's like
But
I
they're
feel
good.
like I'm sponsored, but it's just legit good stuff. Like
Yeah,
it really is.
I'm the same. I mean, it's like a point with a product that you're so happy with it that you're happy to give it free airtime. Like, and I'm the same way. I talk about VR cover on my show because it's like it's that good, and it's the only really proper thing out there, and it's been there since it's OG. It's like 2014 they were out. Like, they've been around forever, and I didn't find any reference of a PSVR one. Maybe that's just me getting my hopes up, but then again, good luck to the team for trying to find a form factor of how they attach to that one, because some of their early Rift attempts on the CV1 failed, and they had to revise.
Yeah.
But the number one thing that attracts me to the Go is the wider, because taking a bit of pressure off from the Go would be nice, just because I tend to like to have it tighter.
Yeah,
that's just the way I am. Because what happens for me, Mike, is face your fears. If you play the one with the snakes jumping at you, this is what I was doing. Now I got a big enough nose, right? But like I like snap to the left or snap to the right because there's a snake coming at me, right? So I'm naturally dodging it, and the hard plastic would just whack against my nose. And so I would love to have a cover to help me avoid that.
So VR cover needs to make something for Zim's nose. Yeah. Got it.
Well, maybe this one might help him out. But like, it is a good point that we're not sponsored by VR cover. We'd love to be, but we're not. But it's just a case of we recommend their products, we endorse them. We wouldn't recommend something we didn't endorse.
Well, if we are advertising them anyway, I really like their merchandise too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they make nice. They made a really awesome Christmas jumper last year.
Yeah. Maybe they make a new one. Who knows? Yeah. Or they sell it. Do they still? I think they still sell that.
They still sell it on their store. You have to go and check it out. Yeah.
And now this also explains why Zim has such an interesting nose, people.
There you go. But interestingly, you were talking about your fears, the snakes one, because on your recommendation, I recently tried the one where you get buried alive by a woman. And I was like, oh my god.
Oh no.
If you haven't tried these on the go, you need to try the Face Your Fears collection on the go. They're relatively 79p or something like that. But they're worth it. They're just
the way you said that, Mike, like if you haven't tried getting buried alive, you need to go and try it. You need to go and try it on the Oculus Go store, like.
It sounds like I'm like into that kind of, getting abused. That's not true. But
okay,
sure.
Well, that escalated quickly.
I'm gonna say, Mike's got a lady. If you've got a lady, this run through, this Face Your Fears, is a very real fear. My woman one day is gonna put me in a wall and brick it up. You know what I mean?
It's funny because at the time I was watching a lot of Killing Eve on BBC. I don't know if you've seen that show, but it's a really great show. But it kind of reminded me of that, and I kind of wanted to do like a spin-off episode like on the channel, but it didn't quite work out. So anyway, I digress. Let's move into the news, and that is that PSVR is 2 years old. So happy birthday to PSVR. Today, actually, this very day celebrates their second birthday, because the PSVR launched on the 13th of October in 2016, and it launched with some decent titles, like Batman, Arkham VR, E-Valkyrie, Riggs, Thumper, and sort of Job Simulator, to name a few. And then this year as well, in August, we got some news from PlayStation saying that they hit 3 million headsets, selling it the #1 selling high-end VR headset. And it's absolutely killing it right now, in my opinion. It's got some standout games. We've had some great titles launched just recently with Firewall Zero Hour and AstroBot Rescue Mission. They're both amazing titles, I think, in my opinion. And we've got some great titles to come as well. We've got like Truth and Blood coming soon, and also Beat Saber releasing on the PSVR as well. So they're killing it right now, I think, in VR.
They have been killing it for like 2 years.
I think
there were rarely moments where PlayStation was falling flat. PlayStation VR, there were a few dull moments in the office, but overall, pretty solid, right?
Yeah.
I think you have been awarded very well when you bought about a year ago or 2 years ago. Just you got from Sony. It's like it's nice to be awarded for investing into a headset, and I think think people feel that with the PSVR.
The thing is, like, well, I mean, I think we all said that before. Like, you know, it's not like the premium headset that, you know, the HTC Vive or the Rift is, but the content that they deliver on their platform is definitely premium.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very, very premium. It's more premium than a lot of the stuff that we're getting on the Rift or the Vive.
Oh yes.
So.
And also, I mean, they put their money behind it. They put their advertising behind it. Yeah. The only thing that I would probably pick on them for, I mean, they've got 3 million with headsets or something like that now, right? It's crazy the platform scale for what it is. But they've done that growth. For anyone who's familiar with the PlayStation Store, and this is my gripe, is how buried it is in the store. Like it's probably about like 15 clicks to get to something you want to buy, which actually, when it comes to consumer presence, is a big deal. It still says to me that they're cautiously into those waters, and they haven't kind of bumped us up the list just yet. But I'm sure it'll get there, because I hear so many positive stories about people who pick up a PSVR and then are just like, idea that I could get this quality VR for that cheap. You know? And it really is. It's almost on par with the other big headsets. It's
I'm even more excited when like they release like the next headset, and these ones are gonna be like, you know, be phased out a bit, and like people are gonna buy them on second hand. There's gonna be so much more people that will have virtual reality headsets, then they'll probably double in like no time.
And while we're on the subject of that, because the Sony president, Kenshiro Yoshida, confirmed that the company is working on the next generation hardware right now, which I don't think is a great secret, because, you know, I'm sure Microsoft are doing the same as well with the Xbox. However, you know, it is exciting, like you say, to think that there might be a second generation PSVR in the works right now. And I was kind of wondering, what would you guys ask for in a second gen PSVR headset in terms of features? Like,
so it's probably going to be the old inside-out tracking to avoid the problem of the 180. That's the number one thing, because that's the biggest failing point for me, is the fact that you have to stay, you know, like that is your tracking volume. You know, you go beyond that and you feel it, and it interrupts so many games doing that. So that's the one for me, Mike.
But other than that, I wouldn't really ask for that much more. Like, I wouldn't, for example, like want like I don't know, like a higher resolution or something like that. I mean, it's nice, but it isn't something that is really required. I would just like to see even more virtual reality games.
And for me though, like, it's the controllers. Like, I would want better controllers.
But still, like, even though if they keep the same controllers but the tracking is improved, then I'm actually quite good with it.
I think the problem is with the Move controllers, it's like it's like 4-5-year-old technology.
Yeah, of course.
It feels kinda
still better than the Vive. Still better than the Vive.
No way.
Yeah, the Vives are definitely worse than the Moves.
Hey, can someone make a mod where he can only play with the PS Move controllers? Can we please have something like that?
I would take them anytime. Well,
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because the fucking the interference you get between the two controllers. I don't know about you guys, but I don't tend to keep my hands like this. You know, like when I'm doing stuff, reloading a gun. Every time I get this scrapey plastic thing, which is like nails on a chalkboard to me. I can't stand playing games on the Vive. Of course, the headset is fine. The controllers,
or Zim has a trauma.
But I would prefer tracking over that. I prefer a more accurate tracking than the
but that's what I said as well. Like, you know, I want the tracking to improve, but the controller itself is not really that big of an issue for me. Of course, you know, if I can get like full finger tracking and all that kind of stuff, that would be nice. But that's not going to happen in the next generation, I think. But if they're going to improve on the controllers, then improve on what they should improve on the headset as well, and that is tracking. You know, if just the tracking is going to be better, then I'm actually already quite good.
I just imagine, I have this nightmare of them having more like colored balls hanging off of this thing with like 6 colored balls per controller. Please don't do that, Sony.
I'd like a thumbstick as well.
Yeah, I think we all like thumbsticks, but maybe they deliver shoes. Maybe they'll make shoes for the virtual reality headset. You know, you need to put them on your feet, and you know, you run like that.
Yeah. Cyber shoes,
or Zonaband or whatever that's called.
Zonaband, yeah.
Zonaband.
Yeah,
I would so go for that. You know, I'd go for a pain band, Mike. I would.
Yeah, you would. I bet you would. Kinky bastard. Right. Let's move on. So, to celebrate, you know, the fact that PSVR is 2 years old, I thought I would give you some nice stats. So, I'd give you the 5 best-selling games for PSVR since launch to the beginning of October based on the US dollar amount sales, and that's physical and digital. So you ready for this? Top 5. This was provided by Matt Piscatella, US video games industry analyst. So if it's wrong, blame him. Number 5 is Drive Club VR, possibly the worst video game I've ever played.
No, that's horrible.
Yeah, man. Oh,
That's number 5.
That's number 5. But I think
number 5.
A lot of people probably bought that, yeah.
I think that's due to being a very early title and probably a pack-in title with the
it was
PlayStation VR.
No, also the only racer that was available for about a year. Like until Dirt Rally came out on it, that was like the only thing you could play on it. And there's loads of people who love consoles and things like GT, Gran Turismo.
Yeah. So number 4 is Skyrim, which we expected that to be in the top 5, I think. Number 3 is Batman Arkham VR, which is a great title still, in my opinion. Number 2, which I haven't experienced myself, is PlayStation Worlds VR. So it's kind of like a demo disc. But again, that's because it was a pack-in title, I think. Yeah. And then number 1, which did surprise me, is Farpoint.
Wow.
And I think the reason why it made so much money was because it was a pack-in with the AIM, and the AIM probably adds up to the amount of money it made. So
it was the only way to get an AIM for a long time.
They're just lucky that Beat Saber hasn't come out yet, because that will hit the top 1 spot in like no time.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was going to say. I think these numbers will change significantly over the next 6 months, especially with Firewall, AstroBot, and Beat Saber, like you say.
Who made that prediction of us last year? Like someone said, like, what is your favorite VR game? And someone said Farpoint, or we had Farpoint in the mix. We did like a little.
I probably put it pretty high up there because I really liked that one, and I know that Zim really liked it with the Farpoint with the M controller as well.
Again, going back to this whole idea of being in a movie, Farpoint, if you want to stand up for 8 hours and strap a sub pack to you, my God.
And just quick as well, like just want to throw it out there. If you're looking for a PS aim game, and you're thinking of Farpoint or Evasion, go and play Farpoint. Like, I don't rate Evasion very much in my mind, and
I wanted to ask you, Mike. I so wanted to ask you. Come on, let's break the rule. Tell us about Evasion. Go on.
I don't want to break the rules, but I will be talking about it more in next week's episode of the show. I will talk about it more there. But spoiler alert: I didn't rate it at all as a shooter. But let's get into AstroBot, because sort of on the same theme as PSVR. And this week we've got a demo coming out. So if you haven't experienced AstroBot and you don't want to...
Smart.
And you don't want to just go and spend some of your hard-earned cash without trying it out for yourself, there's going to be a free demo available on Tuesday, the 16th of October, and then you can just check out a small snippet of the game. Like I bought it this week as well. I haven't had much time to play it. I played like the first level, but it does kind of live up to a lot of the hype that I've been reading about this game. It's super polished. The platforming is just super satisfying, and I just can't wait to go and play some more. So I would wholeheartedly recommend you at least go and check out the demo, and then if you like that, go and buy the game.
Yeah. The thing for me was that it's more than just like, I mean, the story that is not really there, but the level design and like the interaction that you have with the characters is so much fun that it just becomes like a great title like that. Yeah. Really like
a lot of people have commented. I'm trying to fix my PlayStation VR stream PC at the moment, so I can't yet quite play it. People say the levels are almost like their own characters. Like from level to level. Definitely. There's so much change that, again, akin to something like a Mario Galaxy or whatever, that you take
even the titles of the level are really well done. The titles of the levels. Yeah, definitely. So
one thing I noted the first level, it's not really much of a spoiler, but when you collect all these little robots that scattered the level, that you kind of have to, they're hidden, you have to collect them. There's 8 in each one. When I collected them all at the end, they were all sort of there doing a little dance, and then one of them was doing like a little floss dance. I just thought it was hilarious. I don't know why. Simple things please me, I have to say.
Yeah, we know, Mike.
Yeah. So let's spin on then and talk about the releases coming next week. And there's not, so I thought I'd pick some fun ones, and this is kind of a funny one for you to check out. Have you ever heard of that TV show called Hole in the Wall?
Yeah,
where
I played already a couple of games like that.
I remember seeing you have done that. Yeah, I can't remember what it was called though. The one you played.
Neither do I.
Unbreakable VR Runner.
That's it, Unbreakable
Probably
VR Runner.
One.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with the Hole in the Wall TV show, basically it has contestants on the show, and there's a wall that comes towards them, and there's other person in the wall cut out, and they have to replicate that shape to go through it. And essentially the same thing is being brought into VR in this game called Fit It. But the interesting thing about this game is they use 3 Vive trackers, so they're kind of narrowing the market a little bit, because I don't really know many people that own 2 trackers, let alone 3. But they use 1 for each foot, sorry, and then 1 for your waist, and then you have to replicate the movement in real life. But the cool thing, what they've done is they've used an in-game camera that captures the footage from kind of like a mixed reality view, kind of a bit like what Beat Saber people do now on live streams from that mixed reality view. So you can capture it in such a funny way that it would look hilarious in a video or a live stream.
I'd love to stream it. When I saw the video for it, I was like, oh, this is straight on the stream. I didn't know you needed the trackers though. How much is a tracker per pop?
$100, I think.
Oh gosh, 300 quid for 3 trackers.
Maybe it's $100 for 2. Someone will have to confirm it in the chat.
Wow.
I'm not 100% sure because I don't have any myself. But I'd love to have some to check this game out. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
The price.
But you need 3.
You need 3
that's
of
a lot.
them,
Like, I mean, I got 2. Haven't unpacked them yet, but
they're
I got them.
They're 100 pounds. Holy moly! Each.
Oh crap! So they are expensive.
Oh yeah, and don't forget the VIP shipping HTC does with the champagne and the limousines that come bring it to you. It's always very cheap.
Who actually is targeting a market here with this game? I'm sorry, this is a dead game from the start.
It's like super niche. Yeah, I know. I get it.
Maybe those people don't care. They're just like, hey, let's make something crazy and
let's make something just fun.
That's the usual deal.
And I think it's kind of one of those games that if you saw it on a stream or a video, you'd be like, what the heck is this? It looks just hilarious. So maybe that's kind of their marketing strategy.
So you don't have these trackers. You can play Unbreakable VR Runner and do the same thing. But I think it's more trackers for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to try out these trackers. I've never tried them before.
No.
Yeah, so I should get some to experiment. So keep an eye out on the channel for that maybe in the future. So another thing that's releasing next week, which Zip might be happy about, is Firewall Zero Hour is releasing some DLC. So I'm not sure if it's paid. I'm not sure if it's paid or if it's free. So they haven't stated that yet. But it comes out on Tuesday, the 16th, and it's a DLC pack that includes some new items, some skins to customize your character, and weapons. So new weapons in there as well to throw into the mix. And apparently it completely changes the sort of style of play a little bit. So you've got that. And the devs also stated in a recent blog post that they'll be focusing more on improving the feature, such as weapon offset options, improvements to smoke grenades and noisemakers to make them more useful. And also, which I thought was really cool, better anti-aliasing for PS4 Pro owners.
The biggest problem the game has, and I wonder if they're going to patch it out with this new DLC or just patch it out, is the issue is you can there's a signal jammer and you can hide those. There's certain exploits whereby you can hide the signal jammer, like tuck it away and basically it's an exploit in the game and it's wrecking games for some time. But I'm quite excited the fact that they are bringing stuff out already because as I said, just I think it was last week when I was trying to reintegrate myself after OC5 with the wonderful Firewall community who just mopped the floor with me. And I totally lost. I need to jump into that game again because that was like, is it really this hard now? Is it that like 2 weeks? And it's just like, I can't get a single, I got 1 kill in like a 3-hour play session.
Wow. So people have got good.
Yeah, people got good. So I need to get good stuff.
But interestingly, while we're on the subject of Firewall, the devs were at LeapCon. So they were at LeapCon checking out the Magic Leap. So maybe Firewall might be coming to the Magic Leap in the future. Who knows? But we'll be talking about more about that in a little bit. But let's talk about Borderlands 2 VR first, because that was some exciting, unexpected news from Gearbox Software this week, that they're bringing their classic shooter Borderlands 2 to virtual reality. And I think you could play this previously using Vorpex and stuff like that, right? But
you can play anything with Vorpex.
I don't think it's experience, but now it's going to be like a proper VR title, which is cool. It's going to be a PlayStation VR timed exclusive, though. So it's going to come to PSVR first and then PC VR later on, but we don't know when. But PSVR is getting it on the 14th of December. So hopefully early next year will be for PC VR users. But you guys have all played Borderlands 2, like we've all played it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's quite now. Like it came out in like 2012.
What's the name of that goddamn robot?
Claptrap.
Claptrap.
Claptrap. Yeah.
Oh, Claptrap, please. Can I
love that guy
in VR?
I love him.
Yeah, I love him
just
too.
go up the stairs. Then you're you're safe. That's all.
Yeah, he can't go upstairs. That's true. Although he can jump. Although, well, in the pre-sequel, he was in zero gravity so he could just float upstairs. But for those of you that are not familiar with Borderlands 2, it's like an epic shooter. You've got the loot, so that was like kind of the main reward system in the game. You had all this loot that you could find, and a gazillion different combinations of guns. So no two guns were really the same, and they all had really different effects and styles, so they were really cool as well. It had a humorous story, loads of interesting characters, and also you could play 4 players online in co-op, which was great as well, so you could play it with your friends. But Gearbox have claimed that they've done loads of research to make this game a really great virtual reality and make it really sort of interesting in terms of what they've done with it, and finally being able to explore the world of Pandora in VR with some new and interesting mechanics and skills that you couldn't play it in the Pancake version. So nice. One of the new skills that they've brought to the game is a take on bullet time, which we've been talking about on the show for ages now. We've been asking for like a Max Payne style bullet time mechanic in a game, so we're finally getting it, and it's called BAMF time. And BAMF time stands for Badass Mega Fun Time.
Yeah, sure, right, yeah,
It does. This is true. This is legit. This is straight from the developers. Badass Mega Fun Time. So when you activate BAMF time, it'll give you the speed and reflexes of a rabid scad.
I ain't buying it, Mike.
No?
This is not Fun Reality Podcast. Well, maybe it is.
No, this is true. This is true. It will give you the speed and reflexes of a rabid scad.
I'm sure that's what they want us to believe.
Allowing you to dodge bullets, pull off 360 no-scopes, and even use your action skill to fight off hordes of bandits, and whatever Pandora will throw at you.
Yeah, they even show it in the trailer. They even show it in the trailer.
Yeah.
They encourage people to just do 360 stuff with their PlayStation VR.
Yeah,
and they're just like, they also, I think, as somewhere in like the press release from 2K, they said even like some like groundbreaking, puking, awesome shooter thing. It's like, okay, that's like typical 2K / Gearbox right there.
Yeah, they're having a lot of fun with this one by the looks of things, and
it works so well because I mean it's cel-shaded graphics, so that will work really, really well in virtual reality.
Yeah, and you're also going to be able to drive vehicles first person for them as well.
Yeah, that's
which is going to be really interesting.
That's for the first time for the title, right? Because the
title.
But
let me destroy the excitement for a second. No co-op, no multiplayer. Just yet. I think on PC they might go for it, but on PlayStation they are skipping it.
Yeah,
I hate people anyway.
That's what they also did with Creed, right? They skipped the co-op.
But that's the strange thing, like they said, oh, it's a single player game, and I never looked at Borderlands as a single player game. I always saw it as like a co-op adventure with your friends.
I did. I saw it as a single player play. Never played a co-op.
I could honestly, I could never play Borderlands alone. Like it's a game, like the first one I played alone because it was the first time Borderlands came out. But then the second one, and then also the pre-sequel, I played everything with my friends. So much fun. So much fun to share, to level up together, to throw weapons at each other. Like, hey, do you need this? And I found that. You want to have it?
I'm with Rowdy on this one because Borderlands for me, like any game where you have to go take down a boss or something, and other people have already done it, and you haven't done it yet, and it's this whole level scaling, and I'm gonna get a weapon or I'm not gonna get a weapon. Maybe it was just me and my buddies, but I didn't find it much fun. Like I'd prefer to play it, and I'm actually quite enticed by doing this in VR because what Rowdy said, I have to reiterate. For some reason, that cel-shaded graphics thing, not only because it's drawing better performance, but that type of thing, just like in the Great Sea, looks amazing in VR for some reason. Like you lose all the screen door effect when you're looking at content like that.
Yeah. True.
I think the thing I'm going to do the most in this VR version is Moxie's place and just try to gamble all my money to win nice stuff.
Oh, for a different reason there.
No.
Some
people might, but let's say the casino vibe you get in Borderlands, it's so addicting. Like you spend all of your shit there. It's
whoa. Tell me, what can you play? I don't know this.
What?
You can gamble.
You can
gamble.
Oh,
you can gamble.
Like a casino type thing.
Yeah. And win weapons and things like that. Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if they did a play on words, because there's a film quite famous called Molly's Game, which is based on a true story. And I think that lady's name is Moxie, right?
Yeah, Moxie's Game.
Is it based on a story of a person that spent 15 hours just in Moxie's tavern looking at her?
No, not quite.
All right.
It's a whole heisty type thing.
That's
Anyway,
yours.
look it up later.
That's my story. The story of Mike. The
I'm
sad
sure
story of Mike.
I can tell you right now that since they added like new features to Borderlands to kind of hype up the VR stuff, I think they will do something with Moxie in that sense. And what that is, like, that's up to your own imagination, but I think do something. Yeah.
You just, unfortunately, I think you just popped your bubble, maybe, Nathy. Apparently, that's DLC.
DLC? Is that a DLC?
No, it was DLC in the original game, but it's all going to be included in this one.
Oh, so
Apparently.
it's a full...
Are they pulling a Skyrim on this? They're pulling everything in.
I believe so, because it's in the trailer, so she must be in it.
And it's $60. It's
Yeah, it's going to be expensive.
Ow.
Yeah,
Okay.
ouch.
Yeah, well,
But I'm excited about this one. But like you say, maybe when they bring it to PC VR, they'll enable these co-op options, because I really want to play it co-op, to be honest, with my friends. But that's just me.
yeah.
Rowdy
Well,
and
at
Zim.
least you have one friend that does like to play on co-op stuff. So
I'll play with you guys.
well,
I'll play with you guys. I don't mind.
None of you wanted to play co-op with Evasion with me, but
Okay,
now I
then-
can. Now I can.
Yes, I did, Mike, but you
Oh, you
were
did.
asleep.
Oh, no,
No,
that's
no,
true,
no.
actually. You did offer.
You texted me when I was working and slaving away at my job, you know, like some
Yeah.
regular people here have to do, you know.
The reason Evasion is because some publications out there said that Evasion was like the Borderlands of VR, and it's really
Okay.
not. Like it's really not. So
no excuses from me. I mean, I could have played with Mike, but I just evaded Evasion. So
yeah, you dodged the bullet.
I did. Yeah.
Okay. Bad jokes aside, let's talk about LeapCon. So this week, Magic Leap hosted its first conference, LeapCon, which started on Tuesday, the 9th of October in Los Angeles. Did you guys get your invite?
Yeah, I did, but I couldn't go. I couldn't go.
No, we didn't get invited. But a bit like Oculus Connect, which we did get invited to, it's a conference where developers, creators, media, and enthusiasts get together to connect and inspire each other to create the applications of the future. And for those that don't know what the Magic Leap is all about and are confused by this whole thing, well, it's a headset. Well, it's an augmented reality headset. It released a few months back. It's similar to the Microsoft HoloLens in that it's an augmented reality headset. You put it on, your real world around you is still there, but it's characters and objects are projected, overlaid onto the real world, and they remain persistent in that world. So you can actually walk around them, which is really cool. Right now.
Yeah, standalone.
Yeah, it's standalone, super expensive, over $2,000. You can only buy one in the US right now and have someone drive it to your house and personally fit it to your face.
Not anymore after the announcement at LeapCon, where they now ship it to everyone.
Oh, so you can buy one now?
Yes.
Does that mean you're going to buy one now, Nathy?
Stay tuned.
Okay.
I don't want to make any promises, but yes, I really want to get one. But first, I need to ask my private Santa Claus.
Okay. So do you get
That sounds so wrong.
do you get the limousine experience where they pull up and fit it to your face as well, or do you just get it shipped out in a box with a different attachment?
I think they just ship it then. I think that was the problem with just shipping within America. You know, you would buy one and then they they would just fit it for you. And now I don't think they have they don't have someone in every country to help you out.
No. Okay. So I can imagine. So when you get the conversion rate in terms of price, what's that going to be like in Europe? Because I know we get stung quite a bit for that.
Depends on how you ship it. I mean, if you ship it like a consumer, then you're gonna pay the best price you can get. But if you're smart about it, then it doesn't really.
So they're still shipping them from the States. Then I take it they're not.
Well,
locally.
I'm not gonna make it too complicated here, but let's say you could buy one straight away from their website and then get hit by taxes, or you let someone else buy it for you and then try to kind of use some smart tricks and then pay less.
There's also intermediaries, right, that offer that service as well, where it's
exactly.
import anything from the US.
Yeah.
Those exist as well.
So a bit like what we mentioned before, and so someone's just wearing them through security as glasses. These are my sunglasses.
Yes.
Okay, so if you don't get a box, you know why. So apparently also during the event, they announced that they're going to be experimenting with a second controller. So you could potentially use 2 6 Degrees of Freedom controllers. And they're going to be potentially bringing that to the headset in 2019. But in terms of everything else, let's talk about what they showed off to get us excited about the future of AR at the show. So first up, they had something which is pretty cool, I thought, which was iris detection login. So the headset can use the eye tracking on the device to read your iris and know that it's you, to differentiate between different users and log you into your own account. So I thought that was
wait. Is this already implemented in the headset, or is this something that they want to do in the future?
So the eye tracking is already implemented in the headset, and they use that technology.
But the iris detection.
Yeah, they use that technology to detect your iris. Yeah.
So
apparently.
It's already ready.
Already ready, but the update is coming later. But the technology is already in the headset, apparently.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know how you feel about these things scanning your eyeballs, but I don't know. Zim, I'm intrigued to see what you think about this.
No, it's fine. I mean, there's actually a couple of headsets that are the whole kind of beam onto your retina, which are more invasive than their technology. But
I was looking for some sort of like, tinfoil hat sort of reaction.
The label. It's not everything.
Okay.
High bandwidth frequencies, though. That'll pretty much always be it.
But can it massage your eyeballs?
Apparently not. Sorry.
I really wouldn't want that.
No?
So
Why not?
alongside the iris detection thing, they announced like a bunch of in games, and the first up is Dr. Grodbort's Invaders. That was developed by Weta Game Shop and was actually one of the first games they ever showed off on the Magic Leap. I don't know if you remember the trailer like 3 years ago of like robots coming through the wall. That's essentially what this game is now. It's kind of like a steampunk robot shooter where you have like a ray gun and these robots are coming through portals in your room. So obviously the Magic Leap scans your environments and walls and puts those kind of portals on the walls, and then robots come through them and invade your home, which is kind of cool.
Plus Weta is not like a small fish. It's like a...
Oh yeah, like Weta are legit. Like, they're based on like visual effects in movies and stuff like that. They have some amazing pedigree there. So yeah, they're legit.
The game's premise and the technology it's using is actually one of the things that impressed me the most about HoloLens. Like when you've got things coming through the wall, or you're interacting with objects that are occluding behind. That's new for Magic Leap, occluding behind like a desk or a table or something. It actually sounds like it won't be a system seller, let's say, at that price for the headset, but it's the first thing that I've seen that actually looks like a game I'd be interested in playing.
Yeah, and it's actually free. If you have a Magic Leap right now, you can download it for free from the Magic Leap store. And it's kind of like everything like this right now that I'm about to mention. They're all kind of tech demos, really. They're not really charging you for these experiences. They're just testing the waters and putting something out there.
Is it still, by the way, that you can like see through the objects? Because that kind of like triggered me a bit. Like,
yes,
like that, that you can see like what is still behind there. Like it's like more like a hologram than like something that is physically there.
Exactly,
That is
it's
still
more
the
like
case.
a hologram. Exactly, well, it's still the same.
I think that depends on, like you tried it once, right? It depends on how they set it up. If you turn up the brightness to a higher level, it's not a hologram anymore. Like, of course, you also always see through it, but if the brightness is higher, you don't really see that anymore.
I tried it for literally like a minute. I really don't have much experience with it. I just saw and I was like, I walked around it and I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then they took it away from me and wouldn't let me touch it again. So.
The dinosaur or the headset, Mike?
Both. The interesting thing about this Dr. G's Invaders is that when you shoot these robots, though, because obviously the Magic Leap scans your environments, if you've got a sofa there, the way that you shoot the robot, the way it falls, could fall on your sofa and roll off it. So that's kind of an interesting thing about it. Your objects are used in the game as well.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. Also, the game that we've all been waiting for is Angry Birds FPS, but first-person slingshot edition. Again, it's available for free on Magic Leap right now and has 28 levels. And it's just like you would imagine Angry Birds to be in augmented reality. You use the slingshot to pull the birds back, fire at those pesky pigs in their little mountains.
Yeah, it's another one of those things that, like, if you took Super Mario and put it into VR, it wouldn't necessarily be fun. I kind of feel like Angry Birds in VR. Not sure
it's a tech demo.
It's a tech demo.
As you said, this is definitely like the DK1 days for Magic Leap, where most of the stuff you can get on it, I guess, are free. And
but it's not a consumer headset, so it makes sense. This is a development kit. So.
It's to show other developers what you can do.
But I do have to say, for the consumer market, they are very appealing right now. They, the way they show things off, the way they talk about AR, like a lot of people get excited about it, and they kind of build up a community already of people like that want to be on board with this. So they kind of
getting some backlash though. If you look on the Twitter, they weren't all too pleased about what they showed at LeapCon. There was a lot of negativity around it as well, which I don't know if it's such a great idea for a device that is so new and is still aiming for a consumer market.
They are not aiming for a consumer market. They are just appealing to the consumer.
Yeah, but they are eventually, I'm assuming that they want to hit the consumer market, right?
Yeah, but they're not going to hit the consumer market within the let's say first 2-3 years. So that's really.
But that's why I'm saying it's a dangerous thing if they don't appease them right now.
Well, let's say if you do a live stream and you show off AR stuff, then there are going to be some people out there that might not share the same message or do not really understand where they want to go to. This is very early stuff.
But I'm talking just about the general opinion.
Yeah. General opinion on VR is pretty negative as well, I would say right now. So it's kind of like just a case of fringe technology. People are very skeptical until they actually try it, I think. And that's the problem with these devices that are so personal to people because,
Well, patience is also key, like VR and AR in general. I would say.
I'm really curious about I don't know if any of you have experience with it yet, but what does Magic Leap use as its interface for downloading apps to the standalone headset? I presume it cables to a machine and then has some kind of equivalent of like an Oculus Home for loading content. But where you get that content from, again, I'm thinking back to the Oculus Share days of like, grabbing this and that off Mega Share. And
it's just like the Oculus Go. It has its own storefront inside. So you just download straight to the device. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the other game that was announced was Star Wars Project Porg. So Industrial Light and Magic X Labs announced Project Porg, and you will need to gain the trust and affection of your porgs by offering them treats and playing with them. You can teach them how to maneuver real-world environments with careful instructions from Star Wars' most meticulous droid, C-3PO.
Okay.
What? Oh, so you play as C-3PO?
No. He tells you what to do, and then you have to nurture some porgs.
Feed him, human bitch.
Don't eat them like Chewbacca did. So again,
Wow.
it's kind of just a little taste of what they can do. But again, I doubt this will even be around when it comes to consumer ready. They'll have something major, I'd imagine, ready by that time.
It's weird though. Like most of the people that announce something also appeared on stage at Connect. It's like the same woman who also announced Vader Immortal for the Quest, and then we had Insomniac games also popping up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it's like you really see that VR and AR, it will come together after all, and that also the shared game space.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned Insomniac because they've made a game as well called Seedling, and basically you become a seedling scout and you have a little box, and in that is like a life form plant basically that grows, and a bit like the Porg thing, you have to nurture it, you have to feed it regularly, and it'll grow, and then you kind of get rewards for looking after it properly. So it's kind of like a plant, and reality plant that you look after. So that's their application.
I actually think this Porg thing, although that immediately doesn't attract me, what does is a companion that you could have in an AR headset. So in other words, out there, don't have a family, you just wake up in the morning and it's dark and cold or whatever. Like to have, even if you're say you're in a high rise in Tokyo, you're not allowed a dog or anything like that. All you can have is fish. Like to have something that greets you in the morning, gives you that kind of extra oomph to life. I can totally see that being a mainstream thing when we actually hit full on AR.
This is basically just like the future of Tamagotchis, right? Is that what you're saying?
I think it's the future of even, kind of a virtual partnership. I mean, at the moment, I don't have any friends who, wake up and log into a chatbot and the chatbot goes, "Oh, morning, Mike. Have you had your coffee yet?" Anything like that. But AR actually brings that closer to home, and you'd actually be able to have a real social interaction where that
the robot from Fallout, like that. Or is he too annoying? Or maybe a little claptrap.
Don't even start. If there was claptrap in my morning, jeez, I'd jump.
Or a Furby, you know.
So you make a good point, though. You make a good point, and it kind of brings us on nicely to the final thing we're going to talk about that was shown off at LeapCon, and that was Mica. And she, well, they don't say it's a she. Well, they did refer to her as a she once, but she's supposed to be asexual, so you know, either or. But in my mind, Mica kind of looks like Angelina Jolie from 1995. I don't know if you remember that movie, but you know, the short hair, kind of similar sort of features as well. But Mica is being touted as an ideal interface for the human-centered AI. So, you know, you could put the headset on, and a bit like what you're saying in the morning, hey, Mica, what's up? Show me like my email or my messages or what's going on today.
That makes much more sense. Like I really don't get why they've been showing all those games and those experiences, because I don't see that for AR at all. Like especially not at the beginning. Like maybe if like the games get so interesting and so well developed, maybe then. But when I think about AR, I think about, you know, utility, layer over the reality, GPS, social interaction, improve reality, architecture, those kind of things, and indeed AI. But I find it so weird a large part of that conference was like so focused on games and showing off tech demos that had nothing to do, in my mind, with AR, because you could take away the reality that you were overlaying and just make it I don't know, like a virtual reality room. You'd be playing virtual reality and would probably be a better experience. I don't really see the sense of doing that, like why they did that.
I think that's just a marketing strategy. Plus, if you are a company, a development studio who, you know, hey, we build an AR, it might not even be that successful. It's still like, hey, we're our toes into the waters of AR. So I think it's just to kind of like market from their side, and also Magic Leap, like, you know, again, showing some appeal to the audience, because this kind of makes it to the front pages of some web.
But that's I just have a really like double feeling about that.
You're making excellent points, because I think that when you're showing off a room of people are at the moment, and I don't think it's rightly placed, actually. People are at the moment kind of scared to show off, you know, oh, here's how you can measure something with an AR headset, or, you know, because like if you watch any other unveiling of AR tech, even like Apple did it, most people are like, right, and they might think to themselves, oh, that's really interesting. You're not going to get a wow out of that, right? So I hear what Nathan's saying. I think you've made some very good points there, Rowdy, about AR, because we heard it in chat as well. Cybos was mentioning, you know, AR for games, as you say, isn't matured to the right point yet, and they should really be focusing on. Yeah,
that makes more sense.
But again, like even showing VR stuff, AR has the same problem on a flat screen to an audience. It just doesn't do anything. You really need to sit for yourself to understand.
But it's still less, because, you know, like for example, they're showing off like that you're shooting, and like the room opens up and they show the portal coming out. But imagine doing that in your bedroom, or imagine doing that in some kind of like steampunk environment where everything works together. That feels much more solid than doing it in your own bedroom, where all of a sudden there's like steampunk arriving. It just doesn't really tick with me. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I don't know.
But this Mica AI, you know, this touted new interface that you can just talk to, a bit like Siri, but, you know, she's portrayed as a person. They use some really interesting tech for like realistic eye movement and gaze.
Oh, that's really cool.
And they use AI components to track user. So when the user moves, her eyes move, and her body language and her posture changes as well. And it's kind of all designed to evoke natural reactions from you as a user to make it kind of feel more human-like, you know, so you're just kind of talking to someone else rather than a robot or someone that's not really there. A bit like what Zim was saying, you know, you wake up in the morning, you have this person that you can talk to, you know, which is kind of interesting.
It's really scary, Mike, that you had this for today's show, and I didn't know. That's one piece I didn't know we were going to cover. And they like talked about, you're like, I've just got the perfect thing for you, Zim. Here's the slice of the presentation that you missed.
Yeah. So that was kind of like a roundup of what was shown off at LeapCon. You know, if you're excited about it or not, I think it's super interesting what they're doing. You know, like I say, I've tried a Magic Leap for like a minute. I was impressed with that, actually. More impressed than I probably thought I would be. And I'm excited to try out more stuff on the Magic Leap in the future. But I think these things are just going to be little bite-sized experiences to get you excited and show you what can be possible in AR. But let's round up the show and talk about Nintendo NS glasses. We've talked about this before about, like, you know, a Switch VR mode. You know, we uncovered it. Someone uncovered it in the menu system that, you know, you can enable a VR mode. Didn't really know, and no one official said anything about it. But this company called XClim have designed a headset which you slot in your Nintendo Switch in the back of it. It's like a VR headset, but is it a VR headset? Well,
looks like 3D head.
Yeah, it does.
It's so fucking big.
It's long. It's so long. But XClim, they have a website, NS Glasses. You can check it out. But they're really scant on, like, information on there. They've got no specs, no detail on there, just nice pictures of the headset.
Oh my.
And they basically say that you can play any Nintendo Switch game and it'll make it 3D, which is kind of interesting. They say it uses passive 3D. So, okay. So there's no one really out there that's got to try it and get their hands on it, apart from a guy called Alex from Nintendo Life on YouTube. There's like a Nintendo Life YouTube channel. He covers normally like Nintendo stuff, like Nintendo Switch stuff. And he got it, and he got his hands on it, got to try it, and gave us all the juicy details. So I watched his video, and sort of I'll round up what his thoughts were. So first up, it's not actually VR at all. It's impossible with the Switch right now because, like we've mentioned before, you need to maybe get it into a VR mode where it splits the screen into two screens that are slightly different from each other to give you that depth and sense of scale and everything else in virtual reality. And that just simply isn't the case with this. You're just putting the Switch in a slot at the end of this headset, and it's all just one. So what they do is they don't have two eyepieces like any traditional VR headset does. It is basically just one long...
No, it's like the 3D head.
Yeah,
it's exactly like the 3D head.
Yeah.
It's
so they use two lenticular lenses, one after the other. So they're just placed one after the other, that stretch the whole width of the headset. So if you can just imagine looking down a headset that's just two straight pieces of glass without eyepieces, that's exactly what it does. And what this does is it just magnifies the view of the Switch screen, which is in 720p, I might add. So it's not going to look very good. And then, because of the lens design, this lenticular lens design, what it does is it makes the center of the screen focus, and then everything else on the edges blurred to give it that effect of 3D and depth.
Multiplayer Bomberman is going to be so great because my enemies won't have a fucking clue where they are, and I'll just be there in the center like, haha, screw you guys.
Yeah. So essentially it's using that kind of like bokeh photo effect, like I did with our group photo, you know, like we're all in the forefront, like sharp and clear, and then you blur out the background to give it that sense of depth a little bit. But it's very difficult to fake to make it look you know, realistic in your eyes.
Come on, like Mike, passive 3D, like what is going on here?
It's complete bullshit. It is complete bullshit. Basically, it's a marketing scam. You know, Alex from Nintendo Life completely dissed the thing and said, "Look, it doesn't even work. It doesn't work. It doesn't do what it says on the tin. So it is just completely fake, unfortunately."
I would rather play with a like a Nintendo 3DS than trying this.
Yeah.
Sadly, it's just not what we wanted it to be. It's $50 as well, which is pretty expensive.
Oh, you can buy it now. Is it already available?
Well, you could register your interest and pre-order it. Yeah.
Oh, pre-order it.
Pre-order it. Yeah. Which I don't think anyone will be doing after watching either this video or Alex's video on Nintendo Life. So. Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting. It was worth mentioning because we've all been hyped about like Nintendo doing something in VR for a long time. And it just seems like we're going to have to wait a little bit longer until they do something officially.
You could, like what you did, Mike, is like hook it up to a capture card in your PC and play it on a big screen. I mean, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, you can do that, and it looks great. And I suppose the benefit of doing something like that in big screen is you're not just out the world around you. You know, you can just experience a game and be completely isolated in a dark theater or something. Like me and Rowdy have played like a Way Out together.
Yeah.
And that was really fun, you know, because you're just concentrating on the screen. You're not distracted. But there we have it. That's the sort of roundup of the news and information this week. So if you've got any questions you want to ask us, anyone in the chat that's watching live from Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, now's the time.
I just got called out on my Bomberman skills because I won a game. I did meet my wife through Bomberman, by the way. So I met her on a bus with a Nintendo DS, and we were playing Bomberman. And it was really sad because I'd met this cool gamer chick, and I had to tap out at the end because of I was feeling nausea. So like the early days of VR were paved at that moment.
Is that because of the motion sickness of the bus concentrating on the screen? Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I remember playing Zelda for like an hour when I was a kid, and then like looking up finally and just thinking, "Oh my god, I'm going to die."
But let me tell you, there was nothing that pushes a young man further than a girl he's interested in. So I went to the edge of nausea on that. I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Screw you, stomach. Just pick and take it."
I wonder how she would have reacted if you'd have thrown up in her lap. You know, would you be in the situation now? Who knows?
Yes, I try to avoid those moments, but I'm sure we've got some better questions out there.
Sure, go for it. Fire away.
Can you start again? Didn't get here till 6:50. Unfortunately, that's not how time works.
Just start the whole show again.
Let me run the intro again.
Yeah, we've got to do it just for him.
I'll do that. Here we go.
Do you guys have plans to do this podcast in VR in the future? Says Fake Delta.
We could do. We could try. We've talked about it before.
We tried some stuff too.
On various different platforms. We could do it, but would we want to? I don't know.
Like once we tried like to find an application to maybe do that in, or do a meetup after like a podcast, and in the end we sat on a couch and we went to space instead. I don't know how that happened, but
that was hilarious. That's a good point actually, because instead of doing the show live in VR, we would rather do like a meetup with you guys and girls, so you can come and join us and chat to us and talk to us in real time. That would be something we'd be better better off doing, I think. But like you say, we tried a platform, we ended up sitting on a couch, and the developers fired us off into space, and we all got a little bit motion sick. It was hilarious. So we would do something like that in the future for sure.
That's professional.
I don't see any questions across the chat, so.
Okay, so let me round up, do the reminder of the times, and then maybe see if a question pops up before then. So just a reminder, it's a weekly VR, AR, and MR talk show, live streamed every Saturday on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitch. You can tune into the show live at 7 p.m. in Europe, 6 p.m. in the UK, and 12 midday in Central US. You can check out the audio version on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Anchor. It's also available on loads of other podcasting platforms as well, but I just can't list them all. Also, if email on Anchor, maybe you've got a question for us you want us to play on the show in the future, you can do that through the app, so go and check that out if you want to do that as well. If there is any questions, now's a good time. Otherwise, we'll go and say goodbye.
Someone said, I take it Evasion isn't even worth reviewing?
It is. I'm in the process of editing it now. I was going to have it uploaded last night, but I just ran out of time, so it'll be up to tonight or tomorrow on channel if you want to check it out.
Beware.
And then John said, anyone see AR games being a big thing? If so, can you imagine?
Pokemon Go was huge, and that was an AR game, but no one really used the AR features. That was the problem because of it drained battery life and everything else. But I think when it's strapped to your face in the future and the battery life is good, then I think it will be great. I think, I'm down for a Pokemon Go where I just wear glasses and hunt Pokemon in real life. That sounds awesome.
I'd do that even in VR. If anyone would like to dev up an app, I'll play it.
Yeah, for sure.
And with the Quest, you can just do a backflip right through your window, start walking to the next Pokemon, because you have all the space. That's how easy it is. Don't try that at home, by the way, but before I get sued by someone saying that he tried.
Nathan told me to do it. Okay, so that's been episode 58 of the FReality Podcast. Hope you guys and girls have enjoyed this episode. If you did, leave us a like on YouTube. We'd really appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you know when we go live every week. And we'll see you on next week's episode. So until then, have a great week in the metaverse. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.